Are you ready? Are you wide awake? Did you sleep well? Are you ready for an English lesson about sleep? We'll get started in about 40 seconds. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces here, uh, especially since this is happening on a Saturday instead of a Friday. I'm glad that you set aside some time to be here for this English lesson about sleep. I'll just make sure everything is working right. We'll start in about 18 seconds. Maybe some people are going to miss this class because they're sleeping. Maybe they're sleeping in on a Saturday. I think we're good. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about sleep. I'm actually wondering if you are a little sleepy while you're watching this lesson, or maybe you're wide awake. In English, when we talk about sleep, we talk about that time at night when you're just laying in bed with your eyes closed and not doing anything but resting, and you're kind of out for the night. You're just kind of having a good night's sleep. I'm excited to talk about this, and I'll explain a little bit why I'm doing the topic of sleep. I was recently on a trip with some students from school, an overnight trip. And as a teacher, it can be a little hard to get a good night's sleep when you're on a trip with students. They tend to stay up later than they're supposed to. Sometimes they make it difficult. So I did get some sleep on Thursday night and on Wednesday night. But while I was there, I was thinking to myself, what should my next English lesson be about? And I thought, you know what? I should do an English lesson about sleep. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about sleep, where you'll learn some words and phrases that you can use in your next English conversation to talk about sleep. Before we get started, I do want to say hi to a lot of people. It's good to see all of you here. Key Park, Mode Eggs, Sam Wu, Clive is here as well. Let me get my glasses. Lolly, Vitor, Know That. Hi, Know That. How's it going? Naimo, Baravilson, Rabia, Kayana. I should do a quick check here. Yes. Hafiz, Yaroslav. Let me scroll back a little bit. Mode Egg says, hello, sleepy people from all over the world. Yeah, I was joking earlier. Maybe this is a bad time to do a lesson on a Saturday morning because most people like to sleep in if you're in my part of the world. But yes, let me scroll back here. Hi to Freddie Wolf, Bear Wilson, Kevin Hawthorne. Let's see, lots of other familiar names. Don't want to say names twice, but I think we'll get started. I think it is time just to let me go over a couple things. One, if you enjoy this lesson, please, if you have questions, ask the questions using the form that will be shared. I know that if I check, there's probably already a question or two. Yes, a few questions popping in. And Nightbot will share that in the chat. And members as well can also request to have the question form pop up. I'm pretty sure they remember how to do that. I've already forgotten. Maybe one of you can try it. It's !link. I think that's what it is. Is that what it is? I should give it a try for a second here. Or maybe one of you can try it. Yes, that would be nice. What was I going to say? Please use English in the chat. It's not a hard and fast rule, but if you think about it, the lesson is one way to learn English. But as I do it live, the chat is another way to practice your English. You can do a little bit of reading. You can do a little bit of writing as well. Thanks, Hafiz, for doing the ! Link. And you'll see there's a link to the forum. So why are we doing this on a Saturday? Because as I mentioned, I went on a school trip. So we went on a school trip. I'm not going to give you all the details except that it was an overnight trip. So we left Wednesday, we got back yesterday. And it was a trip where it was more of an educational trip. It wasn't a vacation for the students. We weren't skiing or doing fun things. It was actually a trip where we learned a lot about how cities work. That's as much detail as I'll give you. But it was a fun trip to go on. And as I said, I left with a lesson schedule that said mystery lesson. And then while I was on the trip, I thought, I should do a lesson about sleep because I'm not getting a lot of sleep. I went to bed a little bit late. And as you know, if you've ever been on a trip or if you went on a trip as a teenager, teenagers tend to, even when you have a curfew of 11 p.m. and say, lights out, everyone needs to be sleeping at 11, they do tend to talk and laugh and have fun. So I tried to not be the mean teacher, but I was also pretty strict about, it's time to go to sleep now. Be quiet. Anyways, enough about me. Should we get the lesson started? Let me just make sure I'm doing everything correctly here. I believe I am. Everything seems to be running well. Let's go. Sleep. So sleep is just a state of being. It's the opposite of being awake. And it's something that's very necessary for human beings. You need 6 or 7 or 8, maybe 9 hours of sleep a day to be healthy. And sleep itself is a time where you go to bed, you close your eyes, and you enter into a state where you are not conscious. You are sleeping. You are in a sleep state. And while you sleep, I think it helps your body repair itself. It helps your brain to relax and process everything that you did the day before. And all of this happens without you really being aware of it. For me, sleep feels a little bit like time travel. I close my eyes at 10 or 10:30 p.m. and then I open my eyes at 6 or 6:30 and I don't remember time passing. By the way, that's not actually my sleep pattern. My sleep pattern is to fall asleep around 10:30, and sometime in the middle of the night, I do wake up to go pee. I'm getting older. I usually get up once in the night to go to the washroom. But sleep, a wonderful thing that human beings do at night. I love it. I really, really do. And a broader way to talk about it is sleep is one form of rest. Humans, it's important to rest. During the day, you might have a coffee break where you can rest for a bit. When you go for a long walk, you might need to rest. So rest isn't the same as sleep, but sleep is a type of rest. Okay, so we need many different forms of rest if we are active, especially if you have a very physical job. And sleep is a type of rest. So let's talk about what you do. You get ready for bed, and then you go to bed, and then you fall asleep. That's kind of how you go through the process of sleeping. So for me, around 9:30, quarter to 10 at night, I start to get ready for bed. I go to the washroom. I brush my teeth. Because I'm older, I take my pills. I have 2 medications that I have to take. But I get ready for bed. I do all the things I need to do so that I can then go to bed. So getting ready for bed is everything you do before you actually get in bed. And then when you say that when you go to bed, it's the physical act of getting in bed, but it also describes everything you do beforehand. Like I could say, I'm going to get ready to go to bed. And then I would do all those things. And then when I actually get to my bed and crawl in. When you go to bed, though, it doesn't mean that you're going to go to sleep right away. Some people go to bed and read. Some people might have a TV in their room, and they might go to bed and watch TV for a little bit before they actually go to sleep. If you have a partner, you might do other things that I'm not going to describe here. There's more than just sleep that can happen in a bed between consenting adults, but that's for a different lesson someday. And then once you're done reading, or once you're done maybe watching some TV, or maybe you just lay for a bit and think about life, eventually you will fall asleep. So this is when your eyes close and you enter into a state of sleep. So you can be in bed not sleeping, but the moment where I think sometimes we say when you drift off, then you are asleep, and you hopefully have a very, very nice evening. Now, when morning comes, different things happen. First, you wake up and then you get up. And it's kind of hard sometimes to understand the difference between these two. So I usually describe it this way. If I'm asleep, the moment my eyes open, I would describe that as waking up. I wake up when I go from a state of sleep to being awake. It doesn't mean that I'm out of bed, okay? That I would use the verb to get up. So I wake up around 6:30, and I get up around, I don't know, if I wake up at 6, I get up around 6:05 or 6:10. If I wake up at 6:30, I get up around 6:35. I don't often get up right after I wake up. I usually wake up, and then Jen and I sometimes talk for a few minutes, and then eventually I will get up and get the day started. Now, I'm also someone, though, who needs to have a nap during the day. Now, you'll notice that you can have a nap, but you can also nap. So you can use it as a noun and a verb. I like to nap on Saturday afternoons. I've mentioned that a few times. I like to take a nap, or I like to have a nap. So there's a few ways to talk about it. Let me repeat all those. I like to nap on Saturday afternoons. Later today, I might have a nap. Later today, I might take a nap. And a nap is just a really short amount of sleep. For me, 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes half an hour, depending how tired I am. And I always nap on a couch. I can't nap in bed because if I try to take a nap in bed, I sleep for too long, and then sometimes I wake up very confused. So I usually have a nap on the couch behind me. I'll show you where I have a nap. This is where I'll be napping later today, probably. And I like to nap sitting up on the couch or in a chair. Naps are amazing. They're like one of the best things in life. Now, there's two ways to describe sleep. You can have a good night's sleep, or you can have a bad night's sleep. It's so nice to have a good night's sleep. I actually had a good night's sleep. I went to bed on time, and I got up somewhat early because I had to finish making this lesson. I had to find all the pictures for this lesson, but I had a good night's sleep. When you have a good night's sleep, you're alert. You're able to do things. You can think clearly. But when you don't sleep well, when you have a bad night's sleep, in informal English, you might say, I slept like crap last night, or I slept horribly. Oh, I had a terrible night's sleep. I think we have more ways of describing a bad night's sleep than we do describing a good night's sleep. When you have a bad night's sleep, it's not good. You end up going through the day and feeling tired because you have a lack of sleep. So yesterday, I definitely was feeling that I had a lack of sleep. Thursday night, I only slept for about 6 hours, and I had a lack of sleep yesterday. We went on a hike around the city of Hamilton, and I love walking and hiking, but I could tell that I was suffering from a lack of sleep. We also describe that by saying you have a lack of energy. So lack of sleep, lack of energy. And then one more before we do questions is to have no gumption. In English, gumption is a word we use to describe having energy. When you have a lot of gumption, you have a lot of energy to do things. When you have no gumption, it is very difficult to do things because you just don't have a lot of energy, usually from a lack of sleep. Hey, let's look at some questions. Let me have a sip of water here. It's already 8:04. I went a little longer than I normally do before getting to questions. Let's get some questions done though. And hello to the 320 people watching. I hope you're having a good day and you're learning a little bit about sleep. Let's see here. From Ruslan. How does Ruslan get the first question all the time? He's always ready. Hello, dear teacher Bob. No questions today. I just want to thank you for the wonderful lessons and wish you good sleep and vigor every day. Yeah, people have asked me before. I'm forgetting the question, but like if you ask me about life, like what are some of the most important things in life? One of the things I usually mention is a good night's sleep. A good night's sleep can really help you to have a positive attitude about the day. From Renata, and I see a little pumpkin, little jack-o'-lantern in there. Halloween is coming. Hello, Bob. I hope you're doing very well. What time do you usually go to sleep, and what time do you usually get up? Have a great day ahead, sir. Thanks for the lesson. So, usually go to bed. I start to get ready for bed around 9:30 or 10. Usually go to bed around 10, 10:30. Usually get up around, I would say our alarm is set for 6:35. But we often wake up before the alarm. Usually if I have a good night's sleep, I wake up before my alarm around 6:15, 6 o'clock, somewhere in there. And then I'm usually up and out of bed around 6:35, 6:45, somewhere in there. And it varies a little bit. One thing I don't do though is I find it hard to sleep in. It's very difficult for me. I don't know if that's a process. When I turned my late 30s, early 40s, when I was younger, I could sleep in. And now around that age, it started to get a little bit more difficult. From Hung, I often have nice dreams while sleeping. One of them show me playing with aliens on the space station. Do you remember your dreams? What kind of things do you often remember? Little fix there. I usually don't remember my dreams. Sometimes I wake up and I remember them right away, but then later in the day, I don't usually remember them. Very challenging. Let's see. Modags in the chat says, Mr. Bob, you could have totally skipped the pictures and acted out all the words. You're usually pretty good at that. Yeah, I was afraid it was just going to be a whole bunch of pictures of people sleeping and it would make other people tired while watching it. Let's see here. Freddie Wolf says, Bob, what about dreams? Do you remember most of them when you wake up? Do you know the meaning of them? Yeah, if Jen's awake, like if I have a dream and I wake up in the morning around 6 or 6:30, I might tell Jen what I was dreaming about, but usually I don't remember. It's too bad because dreams are pretty cool. From Jackie, how do you overcome insomnia? So insomnia is the inability to sleep or being awake for long stretches of time when you want to be sleeping. I do not suffer from this. So I'll talk a little bit more about insomnia later in the lesson, but I usually have no problem sleeping. Let's see. From Yaroslav, morning, the wisest teacher, Bob. One question. What is the antonym to sleepless, if any? Thanks. Have a great weekend ahead. So when you're sleepless, you are having trouble sleeping. So I think the opposite would be well rested, or I would say like I slept well last night. I'm well rested. I'm energetic. I think all of the ways you would describe someone who has a lot of energy because they slept well would be, but I don't know if there's a direct like wide awake, maybe. We'll talk about that one in a bit as well. Ricardo says, hi, Teacher Bob. I'm very glad to be with you here in this live lesson. It's good to have you. Definitely nice to see a lot of familiar faces on a Saturday instead of a Friday. From Mohammed, hi, Brainiac. I have a question. Is it polite to use the idiom sleep like a dog with anyone, or we should avoid it with people we are not friends with or superior ones? Yeah, so some of the older English phrases where you compare people to animals, they're just not a good idea to use anymore. I might say, oh, I slept like a dog. You might also say, I slept like a baby, which means you slept well, but still, it's kind of a weird phrase because babies don't sleep that well. They wake up a lot, but you might say that. But I would probably just say, oh, I just slept so well last night, or I had a great night's sleep last night, or a good night's sleep. Yeah. Whenever you learn phrases where you compare people to animals, even if they're meant to be like a nice phrase, I would choose a different way to say it to avoid. Judith from Hungary. Hi, Bob. Rare occasion. I am here. Hi, Judith. Good to see you here. Can sleeping be related to mystery? Well, I just made the title of the lesson Mystery Lesson because I didn't have a lesson ready to go. But sleeping can in some ways be related to mystery. And I'll tell you, let's see, what would be, let's say you went to sleep. This is a little bit scary. Let's say you locked your front door and you went to sleep. And then when you woke up the next morning, your front door was unlocked. That would be a mystery. You'd be like, oh, did I forget? I thought I remembered to lock it. That is strange. So yeah, sometimes things happen at night. Let's see here. Remember, I am sticking with questions that are on topic. So if you submit a question that's off topic, I just skip it. Okay. So if you don't see it come up, that's why. Let's see here. Terrace, next question. Hello, Mr. Bob. Some people can't sleep without nightcap. What would you recommend instead? So a nightcap is like having a little bit of a drink before bed, often alcoholic, I think almost always. I don't have a nightcap, so I'm looking it up. An alcoholic or hot drink taken at the end of the day. So when I think nightcap, I think having some kind of alcoholic beverage. You know what I think is the best thing to do? Have supper around 6 or 7, and then don't eat. And then go to bed at 10 or 11. That is usually when I sleep the best. I try to avoid food before I go to bed. I do drink. Dormir comme un bébé. That's Modex practicing French, sleeping like a baby. Hafia says sleep paralysis is a mystery if anyone ever had it when they're asleep. Yeah, I don't know a lot about that. But yes. Oh, and then dormir como un bebé in Portuguese. Languages are very cool and very much related. Okay, let me see if there's another question here. From Winter, right? And then we'll get back to the lesson. Hi, Bob. People who wake up early, we call them early birds, add an S. If people sleep in the morning all the time and work at night, what do we call them? Have a nice day. So an early bird is someone who likes to get up early. Someone who likes to stay up late or even work through the night, we would call a night owl. So still using bird references. I don't think I'm either. I do like to get up around 6:30. My mom gets up at 5 sometimes. I would say she's an early bird. But I'm definitely not a night owl. Around, if I stay up past 11 or 12 at night, I have a pretty rough day the next day. I have a lack of energy. I have no gumption because of my lack of sleep, because I don't sleep in, right? So if I go to bed at 1 a.m., then I still wake up around 6:30 or 7. Even I really enjoy it, and it's nice that people can learn some things. And then he responded by saying, the lesson is cool, but the chat is also very cool. It's a cool opportunity for people in my community, like our little Learn English with Bob, the Canadian community, to chat for a bit. So when I'm going to laugh a bit here. When I'm teaching in a classroom, I don't want my students to talk. I want it quiet so they listen to me. But when I'm teaching on YouTube, doing a live lesson, you can chat all you want, and I like it. It's like the opposite of what I see in the classroom, or like to see in the classroom. Okay, we're going to go back to the lesson. I'll return to questions in a bit. Let me have a sip of water here. I'll go to no display. There's no study pack for this lesson in the store, but you can still visit and browse study packs for other lessons if you want to. And hey, I'm just going to do an audio check for a sec because I did get an error. And I wanted to check one other thing. Just bear with me here. I feel like I'm not sure. Let me just check something. I want to make sure that I'm not. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, I'm kind of stepping on Brent's toes a little bit. So I'll give Brent a shout out as part of an apology. I think Brent's doing a live stream at 9:05, and I'm live streaming till 9:30. So there'll be a bit of an overlap. What we'll do, I know there's many English teachers on YouTube, and it's not really Brent's time slot, but I feel like I normally don't live stream at the same time as Brent from Speak English with this guy or Speak American English with Brent. I think that might be his new channel. So what we'll do is this. Stick around if you want. Head over there if you want. It's no worries. At the end of this lesson, I'll shout out Brent's the live stream he's doing. What is his on this morning? Let me see here. Yeah, I think he's talking about fishing. Oh, I should go to a little bit of that for sure. Okay, let's get back to the lesson here. Where do I click to do that? Right, no gumption. Surprisingly, I have lots of gumption today. I have some work to do with Jen later. I think it will go well. Mode says, no problem, Mr. Bob. Take your time. I'm sure Brent will understand when I show up late to Brent's lesson. Yes, it might actually work well for him. I'll mention his live stream a few times towards the end. Yes, I feel very energetic right now, but I feel like later today I'm going to yawn quite a bit. I think it's going to hit me later today. In English, when you say something hits you, it means you feel it. I think right now I slept okay. I'm feeling energetic, but later I'm going to yawn. When you yawn, it is an involuntary action. You don't decide to yawn. It just happens. And it usually happens when you're tired or fatigued. I think it's a response to maybe not having enough oxygen in your bloodstream. I'm not a doctor or medical professional, but I think that's what it is. But it's definitely something you do when you are tired, when you're sleepy. I sometimes yawn in class when I'm teaching, and when students catch me yawning, they're like, "What? Why are you yawning? You're supposed to be teaching right now." But it's not something you decide to do. When I was on the trip that I recently went on, whenever we sat down, I would yawn and I would be afraid that I was going to nod off because I was a little bit tired. But again, sometimes people make noise when they yawn. Sometimes they do this, like, they make like a little tired sigh sound, but definitely an action that you do when you are tired. And it's polite to cover your mouth when you yawn. Insomnia. So insomnia is a condition. It is something that you would say you have. You could say, I have insomnia. And it means that you have trouble sleeping at night. Maybe you go to bed at 11 p.m., you sleep for 1 hour, and then you're wide awake and you can't get back to sleep. That's how we would say that. I don't have this. I do sometimes wake up in the night, but it's usually easy for me to fall back asleep. Jen sometimes, though, has trouble falling back asleep. I wouldn't say it's so serious that she has insomnia. I think insomnia is something that happens regularly, like every night you have difficulty sleeping. I had a coworker once who had insomnia. He would go to bed and it would take him 4 or 5 hours to fall asleep. That's a long time. So I'm glad that I fall asleep quickly, and I certainly feel bad for people who have insomnia. Sleeping pills. I've only ever had sleeping pills once, and that's when I was in the hospital after my surgery. I was having trouble sleeping after I had heart surgery, and they gave me just a tiny dose of a sleeping pill to help me sleep. So a sleeping pill is a medication that they will prescribe to you that will help you sleep. So if you're someone who has insomnia and you go to the doctor might prescribe sleeping pills for you. The doctor might prescribe a pill you can take to help you sleep at night. This is what I was worried about yesterday a little bit, that I was going to nod off or doze off. This is when you fall asleep during the day when you're not really supposed to. If any of you ever went to university or were in university, or if you remember when you were in high school, sometimes when you have a boring teacher, you might nod off while the teacher is talking. or you might doze off. This guy looks like he's a street artist, and it's probably the middle of the day. Maybe it's a little bit hot, and there are no customers currently buying his drawings. So he looks like he's decided to doze off a little bit. I use nod off. Of the two phrases, I use this one more. I don't like it when I accidentally nod off. It's really embarrassing if it happens during a meeting. That did happen to me once. I was in a staff meeting, and I felt myself nodding off. So not a good thing. To snore. If I sleep on my back, I snore. I'll make a snoring sound. It's not a nice sound. It's like... So snoring is when, inside your nose and your throat, it's when the air passage closes a little bit, and then I'm not sure exactly what's moving in there, but something inside is moving as you breathe and creating a sound. So snoring is not a nice thing if you sleep in the same room as other people, because it's just a sound where it makes it hard for other people to sleep. So if I sleep on my back, we'll talk about sleep positions in a bit. If I sleep on my back, I snore. If I sleep on my side, I don't snore. I sometimes still snore a little bit, but snoring is making a sound while sleeping at night. To snooze. So snooze is just another word for having a nap or sleeping a little bit. You could say, by the way, you can also use it as a noun. I'm going to have a snooze, or I'm going to snooze on the couch. That's the verb form. Our dogs snooze when they come in. So when Jen works outside all morning, she comes in to have a snack and some tea, and both dogs will snooze for 10 minutes. Walter didn't used to snooze when he came in, but I think he's a year and a half. He'll be 2 years in the spring. He's starting to show signs of slowing down a bit. He's a little less energetic, so he will snooze a little bit when he comes in. Okay, we're going to go back to questions. We're going to do members only chat. I almost forgot to do members only chat. That's not very nice for the members. If you're wondering what members are people who pay to be a member of the channel. And one of the benefits is that we do members only chat during live streams. So they have a chance to ask questions directly in the chat. I also do, at certain points during a live lesson, try to read the member chats as we're going along. I did a few earlier, but if you are a member and you have a question, you can ask it directly in the chat and I will answer it. As we wait though, I'll pull up another question. This is a cool one. Let me have a sip of water here and I'll read it from Julie. I think I just dropped something on the floor and I don't know what it is. It's not my cup of water, so that's good. Julie says, the topic reminds me of a couple of months ago. Take the tea off couple. I went to bed while still listening to Bob's English. I wound up speaking English in my dream. And that's a cool thing that can happen. I love it when I'm dreaming and then in my dream, it's a French dream. So as English learners, I hope that you can have a dream someday where people are speaking English or where you're speaking English in your dream. Very cool, Julie. Let's see. From Ansong, we have, hi, Bob. I heard I was out like a light. That's the only change you need to make. I was out like a light. Means I fall asleep right after hitting the pillow. Does that sound natural? Yes. If you say, oh, I was so tired. I laid my head on the pillow and I was out like a light. It means you went to sleep very, very, very quickly. So definitely sounds very natural. Let's see here. From Al Gore, hi Bob. They say you got to walk it out if you can't fall asleep. Have you ever tried it? Never helped me though. No. I do know though, when our kids were young, when they were babies, if they couldn't sleep, we would walk around with them. And that sometimes helped. Or we might even put them in a stroller and drive around with them. that sometimes helped as well. Okay, from the chat here, let's see. Let me just get to this screen and I'll turn this off. From the chat, we have Know That. Hi, Know That. Hi, Bob. Do your kids go to bed before or after you? Thanks in advance. So this is something new for us. Well, not totally new, but when our kids were little, they obviously had a bedtime. By the way, thanks for the question, Know That, because I should have had the word bedtime. Bedtime is the time when you go to bed. My bedtime is usually 10 or 10:30. Our kids had a bedtime, 7:30, 8 p.m. There was always their bedtime and they would go to bed. But as our kids get older, once they're a certain age, they don't really have a bedtime anymore. And so sometimes they stay up later than us. And it's kind of strange to hear sounds in the house when you're trying to go to sleep. Yes, great question. Most of us, we all pretty much go to bed at the same time during the week because they're in school and they need to be ready for school. But on the weekends, they sometimes stay up later. Let me see here. Ricardo says, I. Nice. I'm not sure. Hopefully you can get the whole question in. No, that says, my pleasure, Bob. Key Park says, sleeping late is the same meaning with sleeping in, right? Thanks. Yes. If I said, oh, I slept late this morning, it would mean the same as saying, oh, I slept in this morning. And No, that said, and thanks again. No problem. Let's get another question on the screen here. Well, I'll get back to Freddie Wolf's question there in a moment. From Maxim. Hello, Mr. Bob. I'm just glad to watch your broadcast live because on Fridays I always work and can only watch your videos on replay. We usually say on replay. All the best to you. No problem, Maxim. I would love to do more of these on Saturdays, but it's far more convenient for me to do them on Fridays. Saturdays is a little more of a usually family time type of thing. So I'm happy I can do this one. And I will be doing, I guess in a couple weeks, right? Yeah, in 2 weeks, I'll be doing a live Q&A lesson already. Wow, October is flying by. Freddie Wolf says, hey, Bob, we often say if one person yawns, they'll be yawning all the people around him. Yes, there are over 300 people there who possibly were yawning. They might be. And I'll tell you something really funny. When I searched for a picture of a person yawning, and then when all the pictures came up, I yawned. So I think there is a lot of truth to that, Freddie. I think yawning is, I guess we could say contagious. Usually we use contagious to talk about when diseases spread, but I think yawning can be contagious as well, as can smiling can be contagious. Laughing can be contagious. Whenever a person does something and then other people do it as well, we say it's contagious. Ricardo says, I understand I'm learning English because sometimes I dream in English instead of in Italian. Very cool. And I'm glad you got your question in or your statement. Lolly says, do you think Oscar and Walter have dreams? Definitely. Yeah. You can hear them like we always pretend or we always think they're chasing birds because they're like, and you can hear them making little sounds while they have their nap or while they snooze. Let's see here. I need to get to a different screen. Okay. So I'm learning Lolly. Modags. Hi, Mode. Lolly. Good question. I believe I heard Mr. Bob once say that Oscar would sometimes wake up and bark for no reason. Maybe because he had a nightmare. Yes, that does happen too. And it's a little frightening because, well, first of all, our dogs sleep in the garage. So they don't sleep in the house at night. But if they do wake up and bark, we can hear them. But they are allowed into the front part of our house during the day. And so they will have a little snooze or nap. And sometimes they will suddenly both wake up and start barking for no reason because one of them maybe had a bad dream. Wanda, hi, Teacher Bob. Have you ever had nightmares? If yes, what did you feel? Thanks. So this is the situation where when I have a nightmare, so a nightmare is a bad dream. A dream where bad things happen to you or other people you know. So I do remember those. And if I have a bad one, I usually do get up and walk around. So yes, definitely. that is when I will walk around if I have a nightmare. I'll go have a glass of water. Sometimes I'll go down on my computer and read some comments on YouTube or something like that. Let's see. Key Park says, I think dogs, cats do dream. I think so. Lolly says, thanks to Mode and thanks to me. No problem. Natalia Illusion, when cats purr, what sleeping state are they in? So I'm not sure they're always, like they can purr while you pet them, so they're awake. But I don't know if I guess they're just having a snooze. They're just sleeping a little bit. Yes. Mode says, I wish speaking English worked the same way yawning does. We hear Bob the Canadian speak fluently, and we just speak fluently like him. It does kind of work that way, though. But better if you are talking to people in person. No, that says, maybe it isn't a problem where you live because you live in the country, but once we forgot to close the front door and it stayed open all night, nothing happened, by the way. Yes, we have accidentally done that as well. If I lived in the city, I'd be a little more worried. Out here, though, we're always worried that mice or other animals will come in. So that would be worrisome. And speaking of leaving the door open, I'm not going to say who, but someone left the door to our freezer open just a little bit all night recently. But luckily, it was closed enough that the food didn't thaw. Mode says, are you going to do lucid dreams? No, not going to talk about that. Don't actually know what that is. I've heard the term. I would have to look it up. Hafia says, nightmares are having exams when you didn't study. Oh, yes. Nightmares on having exams when you didn't study are the worst. Then waking up realizing you're not a student anymore for 15 years. Yes, I have had that dream. I've had the dream where I'm in university or I'm in school again and I didn't study for an exam and I'm sitting in a room. Very, very challenging dreams. Hafiz. Oh, I just read that one. Okay, let me check the question form. I'm going to do one more. Okay, so this is something is not part of this lesson, but Igor says, hello, Bob. What does sleep on someone mean? Have a great weekend. So there's two ways to look at this. You can sleep on something. So that means you want to think about it more. If someone said, hey, Bob, do you want to go on a trip to France this weekend? I have an extra ticket. I might say, I need to sleep on it. Okay. So when you sleep on something, it means you're thinking about it. Now, when you sleep with someone, it means that you are doing things that adults do in bed that isn't sleep. That's what I would say. It means to have sex with someone. Okay, so there you go. So I'm not talking about that in this lesson. I like to keep the lessons safe to watch at work and to use in classrooms. But when you sleep with someone, it means something a lot different. It doesn't mean sleep. Let's put it that way. And same with, I'll save it for a different lesson. From Nathan. Good morning. When do you sleep? I sleep around 10:20 p.m. So I go to bed. Yeah, I'm trying to think here. I used to go to bed later, but I think I need more sleep now. The more I walk during the day, I need like an extra half hour sleep at night. So again, I go to bed around 10:30, and I wake up and get up around 6:30, sometimes 7. That's about the latest. It's hard for me to sleep past 6:30 or 7. Did I say? Yeah. Okay. Let's finish this lesson off, and I'll do more questions in a bit. To hit the sack, to hit the hay. I use the phrase to hit the hay. Might be because I live on a farm, but it's just simply an informal way of saying that you are going to bed. Okay. So even on the trip I was on, I might say to someone, okay, I'm just going to hit the hay. I'm feeling tired. I know it's early, but I'm just going to hit the sack. And again, I use hay, and it might be regional, but both phrases work. It simply means to go to bed. To sleepwalk, I do not do this. We had one kid who did do this for a little bit years ago. It means to walk around at night, but you're not actually awake. So when you sleepwalk, for some reason, you get out of bed and you're still, like, you're not in a deep sleep, but you're not awake. You're still, you're still in some sort of sleep state, and you walk around, and you might even do things like you might sleepwalk and go and open your front door and then go back to bed. And then the next morning, the front door is open and you don't know who opened it. Okay, so a dream is something you have at night, and the verb is to dream. So I could say, last night I had a really cool dream, or last night I dreamt about something cool. I dreamt about going to France last night. So when you dream, it's like you see, how would I describe it? It's like you see a little movie in your own head, usually with you in it, about things that you are doing or experiencing. It's similar to imagining. During the day, you can imagine yourself doing things. At night, when you dream, you don't have to think about it. It just happens to you. So you can dream at night. And then, of course, there are bad dreams, which we call nightmares. So a dream is just any time at night. Like this boy is feeding an obviously larger than life giraffe. So this would be like a dream, something unreal. And a nightmare is simply a dream where scary things happen. And I use the word bad dream as well to talk about that. Let me just do something here for a sec. I think I forgot to turn off members only chat. Let me do that for a sec here. Let the subscribers. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm sure you guys were reminding me of that in the chat. Let's see here. Know that if you're talking about mice, we've been having raccoons are not nice, and they're smart. Mode says, Brent is a great English teacher. Why are people sleeping on him? Yes, you can say it that way. Like you're describing the act of people doing something. Yes. Yeah. Why are you? Yeah, that works. Hafia is, my parents told me I used to sleepwalk. I don't remember anything about it though. That's how it works, right? And then Mode says, is it just me or did you forget to turn off members only chat? I knew someone would remind me, so thank you for that. Good. I did that. I can get back to the lesson. This is part of the lack of sleep coming into play here. To sleep in. So generally, people will sleep in when they don't have to go to work or when they don't have to go to school. So usually people will sleep in on the weekends, okay? If I was in the UK, would I say at the weekends? Yeah, I think they say it differently. But for me, I sleep in a little bit on Saturday and Sunday mornings because I don't need to go to work. So what it means to sleep in is if you normally get up at 5 a.m., on Saturday, you might sleep in till 8 or 9 a.m. So you might stay in bed longer and sleep longer because you don't have to do anything. Sleeping in is a very enjoyable activity. I wish I was better at it, but that's okay. In order to wake up, you might have an alarm clock. This is a pretty old looking alarm clock, but you will set your alarm. Your alarm will go off, and then you might decide to hit the snooze button. I have a picture of that, so you can sleep for 5 or 10 minutes more. But again, let me repeat that. An alarm clock is a clock that will ring to wake you up. The alarm will go off. So when you go to bed, you will set your alarm. If you set it for 5 a.m., at 5 a.m., your alarm will go off. Well, it might be your phone. Your clock or your phone might go beep, beep, beep to wake you up. And if you want to sleep for another 5 or 10 minutes, I think my alarm clock, if I hit snooze, it goes off again 7 minutes later. It's usually somewhere in there, 5 to 10 minutes. And then you really need to get up because you might be running late. And then you might sleep through your alarm. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but this person, their dog has climbed into bed and the dog's head is over his ear. So he might sleep through his alarm. This has never happened to me. It's pretty easy for me to wake up if I hear a noise. If my alarm goes up, it wakes me up. But I do know there's some people where their alarm might go off and they might sleep through it. They might not hear the beeping at all, and then they might be late for work. Sleep positions. So you can sleep on your back, you can sleep on your side, you can sleep on your stomach. I generally sleep on my side. I used to sleep on my back, but I do find if I sleep on my side, I snore less, so I sleep better. I have a better night's sleep if I sleep on my side. Slumber. So when you slumber, whenever I think of the word slumber, which means to sleep, it means the same thing. It's like a word you hear or you see in a fairy tale, like Sleeping Beauty, or maybe you're reading an old book. Like it's not a word we use a lot. Like I don't say, I had a good slumber last night, or I'm going to slumber. We don't say that at all. But you will see this word if you read. Definitely if you read older books, for sure. And then to be wide awake. This is what we all hope for. This is kind of the opposite of sleep, but it's what you get if you sleep well. If you have a good night's sleep, you wake up energetic, you're wide awake, you're ready to do what you need to do that day. So I was not quite wide awake this morning. My alarm went off at 6 this morning because I wasn't done preparing this lesson. So I wasn't wide awake. So I'm glad the lesson went well. And I'm glad I didn't make any spelling mistakes on the slides. And I think it was a fairly good lesson on sleep. I might have missed a few words here and there, like bedtime. But other than that, I think maybe I'll redo this lesson in 3 years and I'll think of some other things to teach you. But hey, that is the end of the official lesson. If you're one of the 354 people watching, don't forget to click that subscribe button. We're going to finish off the questions now. Let me get the questions on the screen. I think I have 5 or 6 left. And then we'll wrap this up and you can go watch Brent's lesson about fishing. French Fred is awake. Oh, you should ask Brent what it means to sleep with the fishes. There, ask him that. Bob, does it happen to you that you'd have any trouble to fall asleep? Is this case, how many sheep do you count before you fall into Morpheus's arms? So I had this on Wednesday night, okay? Because I wasn't at home. I was on a trip and I was actually annoyed because I couldn't fall asleep. And there was no reason. Like there was no noise. It was quiet. I had a comfortable place to sleep. And so I tried to count sheep and it didn't work. When you count sheep, you're supposed to picture in your mind sheep jumping over a fence or jumping past you. And it didn't work. So eventually I fell asleep though. Sleeping guy, if my partner is snoring a lot, can I throw her through the window? No, but you can get annoyed. It can be very annoying when people sleep. And the solution is not that. The solution is to put earplugs in your ears. That is a good way to do it. But then don't sleep through your alarm. I'm going to skip the next one. It's not on topic. From Mikhailo. Hello, Mr. Teacher Bob. How to describe the situation when you're thirsty for sleep in the morning and you did not sleep enough? Have a great weekend. We usually just say you're exhausted, or you say I did not sleep well. I had a bad night's sleep. I slept awful, or I was up all night. Oh, or I tossed and turned. I forgot that one, where you roll around at night trying to sleep. Not enjoyable at all. Let's see here. From Kakachen. Hi, teacher. I find that when I was dreaming and my brain seems to be wiser and something other about my ability was stronger. Am I the only one that feels that? No. I think sleep, I don't think we fully understand what sleep all does. Sleep is good for the brain. Sleep is good for the body. Like when you're really, let's say you go on a 12-kilometer hike and you're really tired. When you sleep, your body repairs itself. If you lift weights, when you sleep, like they say, part of being healthy, part of exercising and getting in shape is sleep. That sleep is incredibly important. So I think it's good for the brain. If you have, let's say you're going to take an English test, you want to sleep really well the night before that test for sure. Sayla says, just want to say thank you. No problem. Let's see here. From Haki. Do you use electronic devices in order to track your sleep quality like smartwatches? Have a great day. No, so I can wear this at night, but like I don't if I wear my wedding ring and my watch, I don't sleep as well. I can feel them, like it's distracting to me. So I take my wedding ring off and I take my watch off at night. But if I did wear it, it would track my sleep and tell me how well I sleep each night. From Unsel, hi teacher Bob, how are you doing? Have you ever missed something important because you fell asleep? Bye. When I was in university, I occasionally missed a class. It was rare, but I occasionally missed a class because I had stayed up too late the night before and I just slept in. So yes, I have in my life, but as an adult, like since the age of 23, no. I think I have the opposite. If I have something important tomorrow, like if I had something important tomorrow, I would actually wake up earlier than I needed to because I would be worried that I would sleep in and miss it. So I have not had that problem. Hey, if you are interested, there are study packs at my store for other lessons. There's no study pack for this one because most of my study packs rely on words and pictures, and most of the pictures are just people sleeping. So it would be kind of hard to make a study pack for this set. But if you are interested, please do visit the store. If you want a personal greeting from me, that's available there as well. And as well, I have been doing small 5-person classes the second Saturday of every month. There isn't one in the store right now, but there will be another one the second Saturday of November. No, don't hold me to that. I think I might be gone that weekend. We'll see. Anyways, there are study packs there. Go and have a look. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I'm just going to read the chat a little bit. I like to see what people are saying. Am I the only one to... You would probably say Kaka-chen. Let's get your question back on the screen here. Let me see if I can go backwards in time. Previous. Let's see. You would probably say, am I the only one that experiences that? That would be probably the way I would say it. Yes. You said, am I the only one to feel that? But I would say, am I the only one that experiences that? That would be my take on it. Okay. What was I going to read here? Mode says, you did a pretty good job, Mr. Bob, even if you forget a few words. We appreciate the fact that you still wanted to do a live this weekend. It's the thought that counts, not the number of words. Yeah. It makes me feel, I don't know. Those of you that have been around a long time, you know that I'm wired for, I like routine. And then if I didn't do a lesson today, then I would feel like I left something undone from the week. And then I would also feel like, yeah, I don't have anything else really to do today. I have to help Jen for about an hour. So in order for me to relax most days, I like to accomplish something. It's just a weird personality trait. So it's fun. And I do like to see all of you as well. Freddie says, I heard that the healthiest position to sleep in is on the left side because of your organs inside your body. Interesting. I should try that. I think I sleep on both sides, but I think mostly my right side. Lolly says bye. Vitor says bye. Bye to both of you. Natalia says, have a nice weekend. Know That says, thanks for your time, Bob. And of course, the great lesson. Greetings to Jen and your kids. Have a wonderful weekend. I will. It will be better in about an hour. The job Jen and I have to do today, we have to pull the pumps. What that means is we have 2 irrigation pumps and we have to disconnect them and put them in the garage because it's going to freeze on Sunday night. So we can't have the pumps out. So it's time to pull the pumps. It's time to definitely get them. I got my warning from Vitor. Nice. Warning at the end. Hafia says, great, fantastic lesson. No problem. Natalia Illusion, thanks. HK Bus says, bye, Teacher Bob. Red Fish says bye, and everyone is saying bye. So bye to everyone. Have a great weekend, everybody. I know that it's already Saturday morning. It might be Saturday evening where you are, but have a great weekend. I'm going to just do a bit of work outside. Hopefully not get too cold. Disconnecting pumps means that I'm going to, we're working with water and it's a little cold. Getting wet when it's cold outside is not enjoyable. So Jen and I will certainly be coming in a couple hours and having some hot chocolate or something like that. Anyways, thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. Oh, last thing. This lesson will come out tomorrow, a shorter version. I'm going to work on that today too, a quick edit. And please do rewatch it, or at least listen to it 1 or 2 more times. It will really help you. And remember, this isn't just vocabulary. Listen to how I put the vocabulary into phrases. Like, listen to how I say things and maybe shadow me a bit. Anyways, you're awesome. Go watch Brent's lesson. It probably started 20 minutes ago. Let me check. And let me get the link for you if you're still hanging around. Where do we go? Where do we go? How to, yes, here's the link. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it into my chat. Brent's lesson. I might go there and say hi for a sec. Let me do that. He's talking about a magician right now, people. You should go. It looks interesting. Whoa, I just closed it. Where are we? There we go. Yes. Yeah, that's a good lesson. Okay, head over to Brent's if you have time. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. You're all awesome. See you new lesson Tuesday, and see you next Friday. Yes, I am doing what lesson next Friday. Not sure what it'll be about. Mystery. Bye.